All right, you guys, this is going to be a long show today. We have 50 graduates. Now, for the program, this is great news. For my mental health, not such great news. It just takes so long. And I want to give everyone kind of time. I want to look at a person's profile, see if I see something, talk about the games. I'm going to do it a little differently today. I'm going to start with the highest rated and then walk it down. And that's because oftentimes in this kind of show, I'm just exhausted at the end, or I feel like I don't have enough time. This is Pineapple Vendor. We're going to follow Pineapple Vendor. They made it up into this cohort. Congratulations. And they don't have a tactics rating. We want you to have a tactics rating, son. And we built these beautiful tests for you, you know. He says, by the way, I should read what he says. I stopped putting them into the scoreboard, but I've been doing lots of tactics and playing rapid games. So if we look clubs, first of all, no clubs, activity, and we'll go back down one. That's confusing. There we go. So, yeah, this is maybe this non-dojo tactics. Maybe no games. So no games. Pineapple Vendor, for your future success and success of the dojo, I urge you to do the tactics to get a tactics rating and to do some game analysis. All right, next up we have Aaron. Aaron says, I really found playing long games and reviewing them in analysis to be helpful. Thankfully, I have a local chess club with a few other dojo members. Nice. I can't stress how cool that is. The dojo helps me realize all the work that I can do to improve. I'm still trying to get more focused and routine at it. Now, Aaron, we're going to see if you have this listed as a club, but I strongly encourage you to convince the people at your club to set up a personal club wherever it's at. And then you guys can kind of track each other's progress. So much cooler to do like the sparring and the studying IRL in real life. All right, here we go. Aaron. Boom. Okay, look at this. That's kind of cool. I like this. Tanner's Coffee in LA, San Jose. Oh, this is really cool. So let's see. This is a cool list. I have done New Orleans, New York, San Francisco. In Los Angeles, that playing on the beach is just so cool and amazing. I haven't done it here, and I don't know about the Seattle. So this is a really cool list. Okay, as you can see, dude had epic progress very recently. No tactics rating yet. So I urge you to do that. Tactics rating is, of course, the new thing we have going on in the dojo. Good afternoon, Loic Grange. Clubs, the SoCal Dojo. So maybe that's, like I said, your specific club, that would be cool to put in there. Activity and doing a lot of work. Not so many tactics. As we can see, some middle games. We did that with the algorithm. That's the end game. Okay. Now, I expect we're going to find a game. We have many. And this might be interesting just because we know about Shattered Nirvana. But maybe this is an OTB game here. All right, weekly tournament. As you can see, these are some cool notes people are giving. All right, here we go. Interesting. Now, this is called usually the Schmidt-Benoni. And the computer hates it, but it is a very solid thing. There's a million different plans you can play as white. Okay. Knight e8. Castles. Okay. G6. So black is going to go, the very typical strategy here to play for knight g7 and h5. And now this knight g5 move is very, what do we want to call it? Consequent, typical, makes sense. And it would take nerves to play EF here, right? It would take nerves. And this is the line that you're giving is EF, GF, knight G5. And right, the situation looks good. It's hectic though. Let's not fool ourselves. This is a hectic situation. Okay. So knight G5, boom. Okay. Right, h4 would require a lot of bravery to play h4. Now, the way you play, first of all, if you were going to play knight f3, for example, then you probably just want to do it now because the knight's pinned on g7. It's not going anywhere right away. By the way, I'm not sure I completely dislike what you did because if you don't do this, the suffering is going to be kind of real. Suffering might be real anyway, but at least now your knight's going to get to d5 and you're going to have some interesting play. The reason to really believe you're lost here is not that the pawn is poor on e6, but it's your bishop is so bad on d3. And you talk about knight c6 to d4. Great. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. Bishop e2. Rook f6, by the way, is the move of somebody who thinks pawns are people, right? They're just seeing like, oh, I can win that pawn. I'm so happy to win the thing. But, you know, yes, he wants to get rid of the pawn. But ultimately now it's going to be a story about opposite color bishops and your good knight on d5. And really, the real drawback of de, I think, is really what you said, that his knight gets to go to d4. All right, bishop e2. Poor move. Yeah, he still wants to play knight c6. Good. Oh, and now you're killing him. Now you're killing them. Rook fd1. Bishop g5. Okay, now you play queen d3. I would want to at least examine the variation with pop, 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 pop. And the main point is to claim that my bishop will be reasonable because I'll be able to play things like this. Okay. He's still obsessed with your pawn, dude. The guy, you know, he needs to be doing stuff like knight c7. Then you just take it, though. So it's true. It's a hard life for him. This is not doing anything because g5, bishop f5. All right, so there is a brutalistic trap we're seeing with knight f6, queen takes, and rook ad8. Okay. This one, I am confused by g3, though. I'm not sure I know why we're playing g3. Okay. Oh, and do we have the clock? It's really cool, actually, too, Aaron, to put in the clock times. You do it well, actually I can't show you, but there'll be a little thing here for you to do it on. So that's a cool thing. You see a time graph. I'm gonna mark this as reviewed before I forget. Oh, also really cool. Oh, I see. He's obsessed with going out. So we should criticize Black in the sense that he's just going back and forth. He's just going back and forth. Here we want to talk about Rook D2. Oh my gosh. No, he hasn't saved anything. Okay. So right, we need to be a little bit more precise here. Rook D2 looks winning. And E7 looks like a hell of a drug too, honestly. All right, if we go E7, you got to take. Then we do your bishop F5. Queen E8, knight E7 looks terrible. So let's call this is like a critical position for you. That looks soft. That's at least interesting. And then, yeah, maybe the guy's going to live through this. So I definitely, right, I mean, Rook D5 makes more sense to me because then he's going to have to play Bishop E7 and, you know, you're going to have some more threats. So this closes the position down. And now I don't know what your plan's going to be, you know. I think here you're a little bit guilty of pawns or people yourself here because you think those pawns look cool. And yeah, they look cool, but what's your plan now going to be? G5 is a little frisky because of opening that diagonal. I mean, you got to put the bishop on D3. I don't know what we're talking about. We got to put the bishop on D3. Uh-oh, that's a blunder. Goodbye, Lucy. Now, this position should be winning. Yeah, H4, reasonable. Check to the miserable king. Check to the bishop. We just take it nice and slow now, huh? That isn't it. Yep, good game. Okay. So, if we go back, this is Aaron. And Aaron's done quite well recently. And what we want from Aaron is the dojo rating, establish that, and continue the good work, really, with the games. In the activity, you can see they haven't been doing a lot of the other stuff, like the tactics and the middle games and strategy. Okay, though, that was really good. Let's follow Aaron. Summer of Solitude, thank you for subscribing. If I don't immediately get to the chat, it's because I'm obsessed, you know. I'm working through here. So, Tossan says the opening repertoire was very instrumental in my rise. Okay. And for sure now, I just want to be clear, like a lot of times people will say like, oh, the dojo doesn't believe in openings. No, that's not what we say. The dojo just has different approaches to openings depending on your level. And Tossan is now at a spot where we encourage them to study a little bit of openings. Okay, so, no, also hasn't done the tactics. It's a new thing. It's a new thing that we've developed here. Clubs, no. Activity, 149 hours, a lot of non-dojo. And we got a lot, some chess media, blitz, rapid. Okay. Done a little bit of opening too. I wonder what happens if I click this. Okay. We got some games. Toss on to par. So this was published last year. So this has been a while. So Toss-on, you need to get yourself on a diet of putting these games in. I feel like I know the name Charles Enzi. Let's look at the top one though. So, all right, Exchange Slav. Interesting, bad move, okay. Check to the miserable king, 94. Holy moly, G5. Holy smokes. Jeez, take it easy, buddy. Dang. What? So, problem. The other interesting question, though, I have is, in this line as well, and you take and I take, it still looks bad for you, right? It still looks bad. So, this, I guess, is a calculation issue. Now, these, definitely critical position. And you're talking about knight takes c3. Knight c3, knight c3, knight b3, ab, queen, queen, knight. Didn't feel like enough. So bishop takes, pawn takes, knight b3, and you're winning. Looks like you're winning anyway. Okay, so this looks like you're just getting too fancy here. And I guess we're lost here. It's still pretty spicy, huh? If you don't like a5, you should tell us what you should do. It looks lost, though, you know? It looks like black just doesn't have enough with those two pieces bouncing all around. Little fancy. Probably a good move. Okay. Let's see. Mark this as reviewed. It'd be cool if you'd put in the time. In particular, it would be, you played very energetically at the start, and then it would be cool to know how long you spent with moves like this and this. One thing I've noticed from my own games too is, like, after you play some very energetic moves that you probably invested a lot of energy in, sometimes it's hard to, like, keep up that level of intensity going, right? And bishop g4, you're like, you're really going for it after that. So, it looks like I missed my part of the video. No, Summer Solitude. I don't think you did. By the way, I started from the very top, and I'm working my way down. So I normally start at the bottom, but then I have no energy for the higher rated players at the top, and I said to myself, hey, buddy, let's switch it up for today, right? So that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. Next up, we have Noah B. Ball. Noah B. Ball might just be a welcome. I don't know. There's not a lot of numbers next to his name. We'll follow him. Graduated twice. Let's see, got a rating? Nope. Clubs, activity. I have a feeling no games either. So Noah B-Ball, I don't know, man. Tell us what you're doing. Might be a similar situation with Nadia next year. Let's see. So Nadia, also doing great. This might be part of a FIDE boost that Nadia got. Also hasn't done the tactics rating. Clubs, activity, nothing. Okay. Honestly, I just say for my own personal sanity, good. Because I don't got any, I'm not going to have that much juice left for the 30-some ones that I got to go through today. So we're doing today CF Fanny. And CF Fanny, say something now. CF Fanny, I remember from an earlier graduation. Got to 1773, so maybe they hit it and then dropped a little bit. And hasn't done the tactics stuff yet. Clubs, U.S. evening, okay. Activity, it's done a little bit. And 17, 18, yeah, maybe just a little bit of end game. Let's see if they got some games. Good, we got a recent one. So by the way, CF Fanny, put in your business here. I guess it's a little confusing because, or maybe you did it here. Okay, so recently put a game in. Okay, so in fact, yes, this was published today, maybe with the hope of me going over it and saying something mean, right? So here we go. Oh, this is funny. I didn't know this was called the Tiviakov Grand Prix attack. So I don't know. I call this the aggressive repertoire for white, dojo style. Knight d4, knight f3, a6, bishop d3, g6. Good. Now white can play knight d4 or castle. And that move's weird to me. Okay. So, knight d5, very weird move. Let's see, by the way, if we have some time. Oh, we do. So, this is move 7. Black thought pretty long, dude. No, I take it back. Black only thought 49 seconds, it seems like. What I don't understand knight d5. Let's think about this for a second. Your opponent's doing some weird stuff, by the way. Now, I don't think I like knight f6. At least I don't understand what's wrong with e6. Oh, what's wrong with this move? I get it, he wants to hit you someday with c3, but, you know, the knight doesn't have muchos beautiful squaros after this. You'll put the knight on e7, and you'll play for d5 later. Anyways, let's give your move a try. Now I definitely feel like takes on f6 is what the guy should do, because I'm assuming you were going to take this way. Now, usually when the bishop comes here, like white will eventually win a tempo in some way on this bishop. If nothing else, we'll have a later bishop h6 and so something like that. Maybe white's a little bit better. It's kind of hard to say. Okay, he does this and does this weird move. It's a no comprende from me. And then, right, we don't like this move. Let's read what you write. I came back to this move after reviewing the next few and changed it to dubious. This move solves many of white's issues by allowing white to take the pawn with the d2 pawn. That's right. And you talk about knight d5 and the simple castles. Yeah. No, I like your position. Both of those moves. And right, it's a huge boost to white. And white should also consider knight takes f6 now, followed by dc. But there's nothing wrong, I guess, with what he did. And now I'm going to say white's better. All right, rook e8. Rook e8 looks weird. And d6 looks normal. No, Kraai, take it easy. All right, before I start talking about normal and stuff, one of the questions is, do we want to play h6? So, for example, pop, 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 pop could be a thought. And here we're certainly worse, but it's not the end of the world. You know, we're going to put rook e8, queen c7, g5 if we need it. So it's not clear to me that the rook belongs on e8. All right, he plays the natural queen d2. We could talk about knight takes f6 or bishop f6, honestly. b5, and now again they can talk about it. And f4 now. And this is just blundering a pawn, isn't it? All right, so he did it in the worst possible move order. And now I guess he's just toast, dude. Now he's just toast. So. Yeah, good. d5 looks much stronger. Yeah, d5 is significantly stronger. Now the guy has a little bit of compensation, right? With the d pawn and the d5 square. Like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking like maybe they should consider something like queen d5 or queen d6. So my instinct would be for you to play f5 right away. Now, one of the things that I feel separates players is white and you should be asking yourself, how can white bail out into a worse ending, right? That's holdable. So, for example, I'm concerned about moves like bishop b6, and yeah, it looks like counterplay, you know? Just looks like counterplay here. So, queen d2, queen e2. Again, I'm concerned with bishop b6. Yeah. So he misses his chance. Do we think this is equal? Probably. We have to be careful not to become worse here. All right, now you're getting a little frisky. Let me make the argument that on bishop f8 you could maybe play for a little bit of you could at least try. Because now he's got to take, and you play rook e2. And The game should be a draw after rook a7, but you're the one who has the juice. Okay? You're the one with the juice. Because his king can never get out and yours can. So, for example, you can play on this way. Oh, excuse me, play king g7 first, or f5. One of those moves. And, you get to play on. This one, you're flirting with disaster. And here, doesn't he miss rook takes d7? Isn't that a problemito in the casito because of rook d8? So he's missing that. Or move 26, right around here. So people are there. What are we talking about? A 10-minute game? Is this a 10-minute game I'm looking at, boss? What do we do? Is it a 10-minute game? Why are we analyzing a 10-minute game? Oh my gosh. You spent more time analyzing this game than you did playing it. All right, let's stop there. Okay, so longer games will help you improve. I spent longer on that game than you did playing it, boss. Come on now. They got me, dude. They got me. Okay. Next up is Bucky Barnes. Bucky has been on this show before, graduated a number of times. Do you guys like our new icons? It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. Let's see if Bucky's got some... No tactics rating. Bucky, get your tactics going. Clubs. No stress. Activity. How did he do it? 16, 1700? Uh-oh. Maybe no games. No, we got a bunch of games. So... let's take a look. This was published a while ago. Maybe I might have already looked at this. Let's just see here. Markets reviewed. Here's the time. It hasn't given. All right. So far, so good. Is it a bad move? Maybe. Maybe. It's a dynamic move. You're trying to shut down the bishop. Okay. So, for example, maybe bishop d7 is annoying for white here. Is this a good move? I don't know. Maybe that is annoying. So he's saying bishop d7, he's going to have knight f7. Okay, so you did this. And now a6. I don't know. Apparently, though, you're worried. Yeah, what are we worried about? What are we worried about? Why aren't we playing knight e7? So a6 loses a tempo. a5, okay. Rook a4, fancy. Fancy. And here you become obsessed with pawns, which is no bueno. You need to be developing. The rook, yeah. And now he's going to knight a3 you. He doesn't knight a3 you. I don't know why. He's obsessed. He's obsessed with the pawns. Yeah, queen d5 is fine. We blunder. Now, one thing about this is, to me, b6 looks like it looks like that's hard to beat, dude. But okay, here. Queen f3, reasonable move. I guess we're toast here, right? Crispy critters. Okay, so what I want to suggest to you is there's more analysis to be done here. And this is actually an interesting idea that whatever the computer thinks about it, it's still pretty hot. So, for example, bishop d7 is a nice move. It's hard for white to actually win the pawn without getting punished. Okay, so good. Let's continue. So that was Bucky Barnes. Now we have Wrist. After watching the video about the FIDE rating boost, I've decided to graduate even though my ChessCom Rapid normalized rating is currently below 1600. I played a FIDE OTB and successfully went up to 1633. Since my FIDE before the boost was around 1300 and my ChessCom normalized after about 1600, I think it's still enough for the graduation. Okay, so this is Wrist. Here we got a question. Cross Online says the icons are great. From Surin, BT. I'm a bit confused about when to do the Polgar test. For example, should a 1050 player do 3 1,000, 1,500 tests or do 1, then play until 12? No. Do the 3 tests, boss. That will give you, a clear sense of where you are. If you do terribly on the first one, what I would say is do your Polgar mates and you will get better at it. You'll just get better at it. And I think what the idea is, by the way, is at the moment, we're putting everything together and we've got a situation where there are now 3 tests for every rating group, except for the 0 to 500. Kostya still has to do that. Soon, we'll add more. So what will happen is you'll have the ability to take more than the 3 tests, but your Polgar rating will be determined by the average of the last 3 tests you took, right? Yeah. Let's take a quick look over there. I look all the time. It's really cool. It's so cool. Here's the different tests. You can see that we got 3 per rating band up. We'll have more soon. There's other tests we have to do because of, let's say, other priorities. But, let's just click on one for you. This would be your test. Boom. We go over here. Bam. Oh, so glorious, dude. So glorious. So you can see that in general, the higher rated players scored higher. Yeah. And this is something we're developing as an example of what's being developed. These 0 scores need to get pushed out. They're hurting the rating curve. But otherwise, it's just a beautiful thing to check out here. Okay, 926 Andy, thank you. So let's go back. This is Wrist. And do they have a FIDE rating? Working on it. You can see he's done a tactics test. That's cool. It's cool, actually, too, for his graduation that he got a high score on the tactics test. That rating is very legit, by the way. We looked at the Polgar mate test. This is very legit. That would, it becomes more legit once you also there do 3 tests and get an average of those. Okay, so here we go. Clubs, no. Activity, a little bit. And we'll do this one, see what happened. 65 hours, good. A lot of non-dojo stuff. We're expecting some games from Wrist. Okay, just one. Let's take a look. So we'll mark this as review. Do we have a time graph? We don't. We'll go back to the comments. This is all kind of known business. Okay, now rook b8. Yeah. Okay, so e5, good move. Knight d5, and now you went for it with knight a4. Knight e4 feels more natural to me. Right, and the problem I'm seeing with knight a4 is if the black d7 pawn were on d5, then we would say, hey, the knight belongs on a4. But now with this, definitely dude should have played d6. And here your knight is, I feel, stranded. And then another interesting question mark for us here is, well, maybe you don't have to take on d6 right away, right? Maybe you could play some other move, h3, for example. It's hard for black to actually take on e5. All right, so that looks wrong. That also looks wrong. Boom. Yeah. He's getting frisky. Now he goes here. Okay. And then you talk about queen d8 being the critical defense. What's got to be said, though, on queen d8, bishop c3, you are definitely in charge. You know, you are definitely in charge. And here you played knight c5. Let me just see if I understand this. Okay, so bishop c3 is a good default move, but boom, 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 boom. And now I have to retreat with my knight and leave d3 hanging. Why is it different? Oh, because you have bishop f4 in the game. But let's say we take here. Maybe you're concerned with queen a5. Maybe you should be too. But this is a pretty good exchange sacrifice. Okay. I still think, though, he's in big trouble, and here bishop c3 is also pretty good in addition to knight c5. But that's a nice find. Good. Oh, let's say something else obvious. Queen d8, knight c5, d6, pop, pop. Can't you still do bishop f4? Right? Yeah, you still got it, Bows. Okay, so queen c7, boom, boom. He goes for it with bishop b2. Nah, probably a little too frisky. And you play knight e4. Rook b1 also seems like a pain, you know? That also seems like a pain. But all right, knight e4. Check to the miserable king, and now he's toast. Very nice. Very nice play. He's gone. Oh, baby. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. So one of the cool things I want to stress about this game is that you can get good at this kind of position. It's very tricky. There's a lot of nuance to it. And yeah, you can definitely get good at it. And rook b8 is kind of like, that's the move you're going to often see at this level, because they just want to make a threat. Another just pro tip about this is it has a lot of similarities to same-ish positions with reverse colors. And so what's cool about e5 is just that it's like, oh, same-ish with reverse colors. You're just obviously an improved version of this. Okay, so congratulations. Omris, that's great. And now we got Dojo Mike. What's going on with Dojo Mike? Let's follow Dojo Mike. But we're not going to do this because Dojo Mike is not even near the rating. Not even near it. Okay, so we're going to leave that one. Nick Vissel. It's interesting. I follow Nick on Twitter, and he's posting a lot of stuff on Twitter. So this is kind of cool for Nick to be in the program. Is it possible to redo the tests? You can redo them, but you will not be able, you won't get a new rating for that test, right? There'll be other tests, though, that you can take if you feel like you were treated unfairly. Okay, this is Nick. And so, yeah, cool, Nick. I'm glad you're here. He's got his tactics rating going on. Nice. This is cool. Actually, this is really cool. So if we look at Nick, you know, he's up to a normalized rating of 1613 with OTB, which sometimes takes longer to catch up to your actual strength. And these scores all track pretty well with where he's at. And it gives him kind of like some good benchmarks to aim for. So this is really, this is like when we dreamed of what the tactics rating would be like, this is kind of like what we wanted it, you know, that in general, when you do it, your rating should give you a good indication. Are you a little bit better tactically than your cohort? Are you worse? Is this something you need to work on, you know? And, you know, it looks like Nick is maybe a touch better tactically than his cohort, but it also could be that his OTB just hasn't caught up yet. Okay, so here we go. Clubs, no clubs, activity, a little bit. Games, we got here versus Alonso. Okay, so actually I'll do this. And, oh, look at that clock time. Sometimes I have the same problem. If you don't enter it on the very first move, it does this wild jump. But still, if you just look at it from here on, you can get a sense. Now, what we can definitely say is both sides were moving way too fast, right? Well, we could definitely say that. All right, so here it comes. Okay. All right. B1, A5, D3, H6 is wrong. Right, H6 is incorrect. Good move, good move, good move. Let me just say maybe B4, maybe, but I don't understand it, first of all. And second of all, this is very standard now. If you win the battle for the D5 square, you are much better, you know. I feel like that's the whole idea of the opening. And that's why H6 was a mistake, because dude gave you a free tempo to achieve this, you know. Now, do I understand this? Do I understand this move? Okay, let's just say I take queen, I don't know, queen C7. Well, it's not clear to me that you're crushing him here. Yeah, it's not clear to me. Maybe you are, but it's just not immediately obvious to me. So, whereas this move is very typical. Knight E5, good move. B6. And now you play B4. Okay. So I would say you're just better because you've achieved the dream of the English against this E5 setup. B4 certainly looks interesting. Let's give your B4 move a shot. There's other moves, but let's just give this a shot. Bishop D5, controversial because they're giving you the light squares. Poop, 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 poop. All right, so he believes pawns are people. And you go for it, dude, with rook B4. The main argument, I think, against rook B4, Gamer Gerlo, thank you for rating. The main argument against rook B4, I feel, is that knight's a chump. Right? That knight's not doing anything. So if you played like bishop G2, we could talk about whatever it is you're worried about there. But, and it might be dynamically equal. But Yeah. Let's go back just a second. What I feel is that black isn't doing anything to you. So let's just say you made a building move. Maybe you'll play b4 next move, maybe you won't. What is black supposed to do? The bummer now is because your knight's in his face, the only way to get rid of it is to give you the light squares, as happens in the game, right? So I feel like you're doing great here. We're not in a rush to play b4, and bishop d2 is a nice building move. All right, so this all goes down. This is an interesting sack. And now b5. Correct move. And I think you're worse. I think you're worse. Could you have played queen a4? Good. Okay, queen a4. You saw it in your notes. Now I think you're probably done. You played for a trick? Now wait a second. Before we play for a trick, though, couldn't we at least play rook b1 with the simple idea to win our pawn? I think it's very important to win the pawn. If we don't win the pawn, you know, he's gonna queen a3 us and stuff. Is it gonna be maybe a dastardly pin against us? It might. It might. But it's not so simple for black to play here. For example, rook b6, well, maybe we'll tag him, you know? We'll tag him and then we'll say, what do you want? This bishop is poor. He still has some work to do here. Now, this one you're making it easy. By the way, one thing I'm seeing, Nick, that you can definitely improve on here is, let's say we got move, you just flatlined out here, meaning that you stopped thinking. And so right around move 17, you were just like, well, it's all forced or something. And we flatline out. Or maybe you stopped inputting the times. I don't know. So maybe that's more probably the case. So now he's got simple play against you. Now you're toast. Now you resigned. Okay. Nick, though, I think it's really cool, dude. I follow you on Twitter. And so, welcome to the dojo, man. Welcome to the dojo. Now we have Kitty Cuddy. Boom. Kitty has graduated once before. Tactics rating? Not yet. Clubs? Nope. Activity? Loads of stuff, but maybe no games. We got one game. Published last month. Hi, Jesse. Oh, I always like being addressed. No, we don't have to get the clocks. I recently played this rapid game on Chess.com with an opponent rated 1863. My rating was 1814, so I think this was a fairly competitive matchup. It's my first analysis, and if by any chance you're looking at it, I appreciate your feedback on the analysis. Okay. So the first thing I'm noticing is this is a 10-minute game, and we're going to spend maybe more than 10 minutes looking at it. So for improvement and also for good analysis, a longer game would help. Frisky. D5. Boom. 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 Okay. So, right. This is going to get interesting. Very frisky. So, you know, in 10-minute game, it's you know, it's hard to think about what to do here. He did your opponent did put you in a difficult position here, and I'm not, you know, immediately certain what you should do either. But for sure, since knight f6 isn't it, we should be asking ourselves, well, what was it? You know, what was the move that we wanted to play here? Maybe it's kind of hard. Maybe Queen c3 takes 92. Do I understand what's going on here? No. No, it's a complete mess to me. I don't know. But that would be your job instead of knight f6 to figure out what you should have done if you didn't like that move. Because now he's winning, I think. Bang! Oh, man. And now we're crispy critters. Knight a1. So, right, he gives you a chance. Okay. Check. Well, if queen e, what do you want him to play instead of queen e7? It's kind of a rough life, right? So let me just read this. Yeah. I don't know what else he's supposed to do. If bishop e7, you got that queen h8. Thank you. Good move. Check. Very nice move. And now, though, can't dude play king d8? He's gotta play king d8. Right? Bang! Welcome to the dojo. Boom, boom. Now you're winning this thing. Check to the miserable. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bang! So, Kitty, nice first analysis. And I'll stress again that the main thing here to realize is you should play. It's great that you're doing the analysis. It's not a bad analysis. The most important thing is to play a longer game when you do it. Beak Doc says, just took my first tactic test. I love the test. Great addition to the dojo for both learning and metrics. I find that the test pressure, makes me think harder than just working through the book. Yep, that's absolutely right. Okay. MK Dam says, how do I improve my tactics rating? Do the tests. Do the tests and the other recs in the dojo. All right, good. That was Kitty Cuddy.